there are certain doctrines or universal principles which are applicable in law, and under the Sale of Goods Act we have the doctrine of caveat emptor, which we will be discussing in this video. This is also an important topic from examination point of view. Now, the doctrine of caveat emptor basically talks about the need for buyers awareness, or rather today we can say the consumers awareness. So whenever a consumer or a buyer makes a purchase, he should make an informed purchase. It is his duty to find out everything he needs to know about a product before he purchases it. Obviously, since it is we are going to be using an item or a product, and we know for what purpose we are going to use it, it is our duty to find out whether the item we are purchasing meets our needs or requirements and is in line with our expectations. So that is our duty, and we cannot pass on the blame to the seller if we don't make an informed purchase decision. This is what the doctrine of caveat emptor says. But in this video, we are going to talk about the exceptions to this doctrine or this rule. That is, which are those situations or circumstances in which the doctrine of caveat emptor will not apply. That is, where the onus for a defective purchase will not lie with the buyer for lack of trying to find out or lack of being aware. The exceptions to the doctrine of caveat emptor have a lot to do with implied conditions and warranties at sale, which we have discussed in a separate video. If you haven't had a look at it, please go back and take a look at it. Now, a buyer will not be accountable in certain circumstances, and those are relating to misrepresentation by the seller. Now, misrepresentation, you know what it is, you've studied it in the law of contracts, but just to briefly recap, misrepresentation is a false claim which is made by the seller, but unknowingly he believes it to be true. So he assumed that 1 kilo apples more or less would be about 5 to 6 numbers of apples. But when an apple can be bigger or smaller, and if it's very big, 4 apples could have fitted in a kilo, and that could be a misrepresentation because that person has believed that okay, roughly 5 to 6 apples fit in a kilo. So misrepresentation by a seller. Concealment of latent defect. Now, latent defect is something which you cannot discover by usual means or by just looking at things or touching them or reading on a particular item. Like, you might not be able to find out whether a cloth color runs when it is washed just by looking at it. Now, this is a latent defect which you'll not be able to discover, but you can discover very easily. Say you're buying a ready-made item or buying fabric and it is torn, there is a hole in it. These kind of things you can easily discover, but a latent defect is something which you cannot easily uncover. Then fraud by seller. Now, fraud is willful deceit. We studied what is fraud in the law of contracts. So any fraudulent or misleading statement made knowingly by the seller, in that case the buyer will not be accountable. Where you say that an item uh, will help you to lose 5 kilos in one day. Now this is something, if you're selling something like this, you know that it is false. So fraud by seller. Then in case of sale by description, sale by sample and description, where the buyer has provided you with a description as to for what he needs the item, or this is a sample, or both, then if the item does not match that description, the buyer is not accountable for it. Fitness for a particular purpose, that is, as I said in my previous video, that if you inform the seller that I want paper for watercolor this much GSM, or you say that you want printer paper, then that paper has to be suitable for that particular purpose. So if you're putting it into paper and into a printer and it is tearing, then it is not fit for that particular purpose. Then you have the question of merchantable quality. Now, merchantable quality is something which is in good condition, which is saleable. Any item that you buy, like a refrigerator you buy, that refrigerator should cool, and iron should heat up when you are wanting to iron something. So it should be of merchantable quality, wholesome if it is food, medication. Then trade and usage. Now this again, going back to my example of cotton. So when you say you want to buy cotton for fabric, to wear, then the quality of the cotton will be different. If you need it for surgical purposes, it will be different. If you need it to clean machinery, you can use cotton waste and it will be different. So traditionally, will obviously things like pesticides are not for consumption, acid is for cleaning, so those kind of things. In all these situations, buyer will not be accountable. The principle of let the buyer beware cannot apply, because a buyer has informed you, or you are bound to by trade, usage, all these things. So that's all for the doctrine of Cavi Tempter, and the next video is on transfer of title by non-owners. Please don't forget to hit like if you like the content in this video or on this channel. Also subscribe to the channel for regular updated information, educational content, and please don't forget to leave your comments and feedback. Thank you for listening. This is Dr. Mariam Narona.